everybody, and welcome back to Linda Tina TV. If you are part of the LT family, if you are new to my channel, hello there. Please do go down and hit the subscribe button before you go any further with this video, and I hope you'll enjoy the rest of my content. So in today's video, we are going to talk about integrating into a new country. Now, if you don't know, I am Ugandan from Africa and I live in Italy, Milan. It hasn't been that easy for me to integrate into Italy, and believe me, it's still a work in progress. So I'd like to give some tips or some stuff I have done to try and integrate into this new environment, new culture, and new lifestyle. If you like the sound of that, then stay tuned.
You trying to make me, I wanna leave and you're making, yeah. I try to see the one I need to love.
Number one, be open-minded. Now, open-mindedness is not something you can force on someone. It's more of a character. But when you move into a new country, you need to be ready to try new things, to explore new things, because you're going to find this different way of doing things that you need to adapt to, or you need to at least understand. So try and be as much open-minded as you can be. When I came to Italy, I had to understand how they raise kids. When I had my children, I had to understand a bit of the dress code, that you don't go to some places looking a certain way. I'm not saying you should change yourself, but you should be open to learning new things. Next is do your research. Now, it's really helpful to understand a place before you actually go and live there. But even as you live in a place, if you see something that's a bit strange for you, or they tell you about the way they do things, it's nice to understand the background behind why they do things a certain way. But then it's also good to be informed so that things don't hit you off guard. You know, when they tell you, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, you're not like, hey, why? No, I can. No, you need to do your research and understand that in some places, certain things are prohibited. In some places, certain things are unusual. In some places, certain things are okay and, you know, you don't know about them. So do a little bit of research. Learn about the place you're living in. Learn about the way they do things. Learn about the people in the places you're living in. This is very helpful. Acceptance. And this goes back a little bit to being open-minded that I mentioned earlier. This is something I have struggled with, accepting what things are in this new environment. So usually when you come from wherever it is you've come from and you go to a new place, you have your norm and your way of doing things you're used to. So when you go to a new place, of course, you're going to find things that are done differently and maybe not in the way you like. But if you want to be comfortable and happy and integrate properly in a new country, in a new place, you need to accept. You need to accept that, okay, this group of people, this culture does things like this. This country operates like this. And if you want to stay in that country, you have to accept that. You're not going to come with your way of doing things and try to impose it in a place where everyone else does something different. I don't know if that makes sense. I'll give you an example. Like, this may be a bit of a silly example, but everyone who lives in Italy knows that the Italian post office is a nightmare. So when you live in Italy, you kind of accept that, you know what, if you're going to the post office or if you're sending something with the Italian post, it may get there, it may not get there. When you go to the Italian post office, you may find a queue that will last, I don't know, you'll spend 2 hours there, or you might be lucky someday. So you start to accept things as they are. The driving, Italian driving is a bit crazy. This doesn't affect me so much coming from Uganda, because people in Uganda drive really crazy. But then you start to understand that, okay, people here drive crazy. I'm not going to try to correct everyone or try to make them drive in the way I think is right, but I'm going to accept that, okay, this is how people do things here, and deal with it. Just deal with it. So acceptance, I think acceptance in everyday life and in everything in general is very important. Accept what is and learn to work around it. Another way to integrate into a new country is by networking. And you can do this through groups. There's so many Facebook groups now, depending on your interests, on your location. You can join a class, a cooking class, a dance class. You can join the gym or any other communities out there. You can do some voluntary work. This helps you connect with other people who could be going through the exact thing you're going through, people who could have contacts that you need that you have no idea where to get. It also helps to understand your community, so they could teach you a thing or two about your community. I remember when I had just come to Italy and I had my son, I joined a mommy group, and this was amazing. We used to teach each other things, we used to do meetups, we used to do nights out with the mom, and we got to learn more about Italy because many of us there were foreigners. If someone needed help, maybe at the hospital, at the bank, or anywhere else, there was always someone with a quick contact. So networking is very important. Oh, here's another one. Spending time with the locals. And I must say I have done terribly with that one. So if you want to integrate in a new country, you need to spend time with the locals of that country, not spend time with foreigners who are as clueless as you are. Yeah, it's not rocket science, but I didn't do that for the first years. And even up to now, I find myself spending more time with foreigners or with English speakers, which did not help with my Italian. So spend time with the locals. The more I've spent time with Italians, the more I've understood them, the more I've felt more relaxed in the Italian community. I've learned so much. So spend time with the locals. That's the only way you're going to understand them and know them right from them, if you know what I mean. Find a job, obviously, if you're able to. For example, in Italy, finding work is difficult, very difficult. But anyway, finding a job is also another way to network and learn about that side of the country, you know, the workforce and how things work there, the rules, the regulations, and all that stuff. So finding a job could be a great way for someone to integrate. Of course, it's not for everyone. You may not be able to work, for example, if you're a mother and you have small kids and you need to stay with them, or for one reason or another, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you prefer to do your work at home. But if you're able to, finding a job could be another way. It may not be something you studied, it may not be something you have been doing before. You can just, change careers or learn on the job. So finding a job could be another way. Last but certainly not least, if you live in a country where they speak a language that is different from your mother tongue, that is different from the languages that you speak, learn the language. I know this is easier said than done because some people pick languages more easily than others, but make an effort to learn the language of the country in which you live. It took me a while, and honestly, for a person who has lived in Italy for quite a while, I should be fluent in the language, but for some reason, the language didn't come to me that easily and that fast. But the moment I started to speak better Italian, the moment I could express myself and talk to people, life became so much easier. I didn't have to take my husband everywhere to do translations for me. I still do, but at least you can be more independent and more free and feel more at home. So learn the language of the country in which you live. It doesn't matter what language it is, but do make an effort. So ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of this video. If there is a tip that you have found useful when you move to a new country, please leave it down in the comment section. Thank you so much for staying with me and watching. Do subscribe if you haven't already, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.